Welcome to this lesson on modeling with geometry. So modeling with geometry means using geometric shapes and concepts to solve real-life problems. We'll be using things like area, volume, ratios, proportions, and more to solve these problems. All right, so let's look at some examples. Number 1, New York City has a population of 8.6 million people. If the population density is 27,000 people per square mile, how big is the city in square miles? So for this, I would set up a proportion. And we have two different variables that we're talking about here. We're talking about people and we're talking about square miles. So people per square mile. All right, so I know that there are 27,000 people per 1 square mile, and you may want to put the unit that you're talking about. So I'm going to put people in square mile. Because when I set up the other ratio, I want to match people over square miles. All right, so New York City has a population of 8.6 million people. And I'm going to write that out. Instead of putting 8.6, I'm going to write out the whole number. And we want to know how big is the total city. So we don't know that. That's our x. All right, so we can cross multiply here. So 27,000 times x is 27,000x. 1 times 8.6 million is 8.6 million. And then I can divide by 27,000. Now, if you want to get rid of some of these zeros, you definitely can do that. It's up to you how you want to type it in your calculator. All right, and you get about 318.5 square miles. All right, next one. The blueprints for a rectangular house has a scale of 1 to 40. If the perimeter of the house on the blueprints is 100 inches, what is the perimeter of the actual house? What are two possible lengths and widths of the actual house? All right, so if my scale is 1 to 40, I can make a ratio of that, 1 over 40. So 1 would be the blueprint, 40 would be the actual house, because the house is 40 times bigger than the actual blueprint. So 1 to 40. And then the blueprint perimeter is 100. And we want to know the actual house, the perimeter of the actual house. All right, so I'm going to multiply that, and really 1 times x is x. 40 times 100 is 4,000. So the perimeter is 4,000 inches. All right, so two possible lengths. So basically think about a rectangular house. And we want the perimeter to add up to 4,000. So there's a couple things I could do. I'm just going to start with 100. I'm just going to pick a random number here, 100 and 100. All right, so that would give me 3,900 left, and then divide it by 2, which is 1950 and 1950, which I'm going to rewrite those because that doesn't look like my picture. Let's rewrite that. So 1950, 1950, 100, 100. That would be a really skinny house, but that's one thing that you could do. There's lots of different answers that you could have for this. Let's try one more because we want two possible lengths. Let's try to make this one a little more realistic. Okay, so 4,000. So let's say 800 and 800. All right, so I did that wrong. I need to just redo this whole thing. Crap.